Hey everybody, this is Buzz the Noob, and welcome on back to my channel. I'm glad you came back for our look at the Guardian Druid today. And we're going to take a look at the new talents and everything. Now, Guardian did not get a lot of changes as far as talents are concerned. And honestly, I even had to go to Icy Veins this time as well to pull up the old talent calculator. So we're going to let Icy Veins tell us what we should be looking at over there for the Guardian Druid, as opposed to what I normally do with my loadout. But that's fine. Guardian Druids, mainly what we got as Druids and Guardian in particular, we got a lot of changes inside of our spell books. So not so much to our talents, and again, since I don't have access to the alpha, I can't play around with that too much. However, we are going to look at what we did get changed for our talents. Now, on our first row, we literally got no changes between Brambles, Blood Frenzy, and Bristling Fur. Brambles still gives you a defensive and adds to it gives you a little bit of attack while Barkskin is active. Okay, so it's it's what it is. It's still a good choice. It's not like fun, but yeah. Blood Frenzy, Thrash also generates two rage each time it deals damage. Again, exactly what it's doing now. So guess what? Since nothing changed on the talent row, that talent is still pretty much dead. Bristling Fur, this is what I generally take myself, just because it at least gives me something else to push every now and again, as opposed, Brambles doesn't. Yeah, and so at least I get to push this button. And that's my biggest thing with Guardian. I'm bored. The spec is it plays kind of boring. I hope with some of the new spell rotations it's better. Again, that's another video. That's a different Guardian Druid video, and we'll look at that. But Bristling Fur, you generate more rage. So keep that in mind. Row 2, Tiger Dash, no change to that. Renewal replaced Ursul's Vortex. I swear these names are made up to make me mispronounce things. So that's going to be a big change. And then Wild Charge, there wasn't any change. So Renewal, however, gives us an instant heal for 30% of maximum health that's usable in all shapeshifted forms, which that's actually really fun. We kept our heal. That didn't change. But we did get Renewal as well now. So now we've got Frenzied Regeneration. There it is. I knew it was in my head somewhere. And now Renewal. So that's an instant 30%. Because sometimes I feel like with Frenzied Regen, you got to push it before you're really ready to, because you've got to get it, because it is a hot, you've got to get it to build up and deal it's hot. So it's nice to have that oh crap button. So I think I'm going to really like this one. So right now my loadout's kind of looking like Bristling Fur, Renewal, and maybe Wild Charge, and that's going to kind of depend on the situation. If I know I've got to get more mobility, I may go with Wild Charge. I probably won't go with Tiger Dash because it still gets rid of your dash. And it still does the same thing as dash does, really. I think it's a little higher speed as opposed to dash. But I just don't see the point in it. So that's me personally. If you really like the talent, let me know. Then we have our affinities, and this is where things get a little funny. They didn't really change any. Everything's still kind of the same. Balance affinity, you have your Astral Influence, increase the range of all your abilities by 5 yards. You learn Moonkin Form, Star Surge, Starfire, Sunfire, Typhoon. That's all the same. Feral Affinity, you get Feline Swiftness, so you increase your movement speed by 15%, so that's nice. You also learn Rake, Rip, and Maim, and your energy regeneration is increased by 35%. Again, and that's still what we've had. But then there's Resto Affinity. You gain your Sarah's Gift, heal for 3% of your maximum health every 5 seconds. If you are at full health, an injured party or raid member will be healed instead. And you also learn Rejuve, Swiftmend, Wild Growth, and Ursul's Vortex. So that's actually a change that I missed earlier when I was looking at it. But Ursul's Vortex got rolled into Restoration Affinity. And just as a reminder, what Ursul's Vortex does, it conjures a vortex of wind for 10 seconds at the destination, reducing the movement speed of all enemies within 8 yards by 50%. The first time an enemy attempts to leave the vortex, winds will pull that enemy back to its center, and it's usable in all shape-shifted forms. So that's kind of nice. So that talent is kind of, we still have it by picking Resto. I think that's going to be a good place for us to be at, honestly, is Restoration Affinity. Still, the heal is good. The fact that you're going to be healing other people. You're still not going to be able to use Rejuve, Swiftwind, Wild Growth in bear form, but that's not a big deal. You'll use them out of combat or right before you go into combat to get those hots rolling on you. If you run around by yourself and getting that heal out for other people of your party, if you are at full health, is nice too. Okay. The 35 talent row, or what used to be the 60 talent row. Mighty Bash, which replaces Nature's Control. Invoke the Spirit of Ursoc to stun the target for 4 seconds, and that's usable in all forms. Okay. Mass Entanglement replaces Nature's Control. Roots the target and all enemies within 15 yards in place for 30 seconds. Damage may interrupt the effect, usable in all shapeshifted forms. Okay. And Heart of the Wild, this is where we have a change. It replaces Typhoon. So Heart of the Wild changes how it interacts with our affinities, okay? Abilities associated with your chosen affinity are substantially empowered for 45 seconds. And this is a 5-minute cooldown, so this is supposed to be a big deal. So Resto Affinity, healing of your restoration spells are increased by 30% and mana cost reduced by 50%. So taking Heart of the Wild with Restoration Affinity is kind of a dead way to go. It's not going to do anything, which is kind of a shame because Resto Affinity, I think, may still be the best, but let's look at what happens if you take Feral instead. So if you take Feral, damage of your Feral abilities increased by 30%, and critical strikes with attacks that generate a combo point generate an additional combo point. So then that would be if you're into the whole cat weaving thing. So I'm not sure if cat weaving is going to be back or not. Balance Affinity, damage of your balance abilities increased by 30%, and Star Surge is instant. Honestly, I don't think Heart of the Wild for Guardian is going to be a way to go, which is going to be a change here. So probably Mass Entanglement or Mighty Bash. It's going to depend. If you got a single target that you're going to need a stun, Mighty Bash, there's your single target stun. Mass Entanglement if you've got a group of people that you need to hold in place. Prophet Skitrith, for example. God, there's been so many throughout the years. That's the most recent one, right? Is Prophet Skitrith. So this one's going to kind of be user dependent, depending on where you're at too. Soul of the Forest, no change here. Mangle generates 5% more rage and deals 25% more damage. Okay, pretty easy to understand. Galactic Guardian, no change. Your damage has a 5% chance to trigger free automatic Moonfire on that target. When this occurs, the next Moonfire you cast generates 8 rage and deals 300% increased direct damage. Okay, probably going to keep it just for that reason. Incarnation, Guardian of Ursoc, an improved bear form that reduces the cooldowns of Mangle, Thrash, Growl, and Frenzied Regen by 75%, reduces the cost of Ironfur by 50%, causes Mangle to hit up to 3 targets, and increase maximum health by 30%. Lasts 30 seconds, and you can freely shapeshift in and out of this improved bear form for restoration. The reason that spell is not the best and why we're not using it now is because of the cooldown. It is still a 3-minute cooldown. So that just means you're going to get more procs of your Moonfire. You're going to generate more rage, which is going to take care of everything else that Guardian Ursoc is trying to do. So Galactic Guardian is still just going to be the way to go on this. Earth Warden. I mean, there's going to be times where that's useful, but that's going to be, for the most part, where you're going to want to go. Earth Warden. No change here. When you deal direct damage with Thrash, you gain a charge of Earth Warden, reducing the damage of the next auto attack you take by 30%. Again, that's auto attack. Earth Warden may have up to 3 charges. You're never going to get 3 charges. Not with auto attack damage. Survival of the Fittest, reduce the cooldown of Barkskin and Survival Instincts by 33%. No change again. Guardian of Loon, Mangle increases the duration of your next Iron Fur by 2 seconds, or the healing of your next Frenzied Regen by 20%. That sounds really good on paper, but again, it's just not. Both Earth Warden and Survival of the Fittest are just better as far as everything, as far as how everything lines up. Again, man, I'm probably going to run Earth Warden most often. Again, it's kind of a set and forget thing. I'm not taking 30% of the auto attack damage, and yes, I wish that said all damage, like the Blessing of Hammer does for the Paladins. That'd be great if they just made that one change. Of course, that would make that just a no-duh, I'm picking that talent, right? But since they did it for the Paladins, who knows? Maybe they'll do it for us as well. Then we have, on our final row, Rend and Tear, Lunar Beam, and Pulverize. And again, there's no changes for these talents. So Rend and Tear, each stack of Thrash reduces a target's damage to you by 2% and increases your damage to them by 2%. Lunar Beam summons a beam of lunar light at your location, dealing damage and healing you for math over 8 seconds. Pulverize, a devastating blow that consumes 2 stacks of your Thrash on the target to deal a whole bunch of damage and reduce the damage they deal you by 20% for 10 seconds. I generally go with Pulverize when I'm running. I mean, Rend and Tear and Pulverize are pretty dang equal, honestly. And again, they haven't really changed anything. So, but that's just what it is. I do kind of feel bad for those of you who do main a Guardian Druid. There's not a lot of changes. Everything's pretty much the same. I mean, by putting Ursul's Vortex into Resto Affinity, you're still taking that talent, and now you get to take it and don't have to worry about it. So that still leaves you open to take Wild Charge if you don't want this extra heal. So either one, like this one's going to be kind of situation dependent. Since I main a Prot Pally, I like having that oh crap button, but you know, that's what we're looking at here. But man, I honestly don't know how this is going to work out. I mean, I'm kind of worried about the Guardian Druids. I really am. They're still big beefy boys. I don't know how they're going to perform with no big talent revamps. That's what I've been doing, is just going over all these talents, and it just feels like they didn't get any love on the talent end of things. I could totally be misreading Heart of the Wild, and it may be a lot better than what I think it is. But really, that's it, guys. I mean, we got a self-heal and Heart of the Wild, and I'm just like, eh? But it's going to be okay. We're still good. Again, most of our stuff is in the spell book. And until I'm in and I can play, I can kind of figure out what I want to do with my talents, but until I'm in and play it, reading the spellbook changes doesn't really do anything for me. So you guys let me know what you think about the Guardian Druids, the changes, if you think we're going to be okay, if you think we're in a lot of trouble. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see Lottie Dottie everybody here next time. Thanks.